All right, so first I will be going over the respiratory and cardiovascular system of the human body. Now these two they work off each other, and without one there wouldn't be the other. So these are very important that they are explained together. Now this is a four-step process in which I will be explaining each process right now.
So first what we have here is just simply a man breathing. So what he's doing right here is he's inhaling O2, the good nutrients that go to the heart and the tissues and are used for red blood cells to travel. And then later on, he's exhaling CO2, or in other words, the waste products that are no longer needed for the body.
So once the person has breathed in those gases, we will now take a look at the lungs. And here is a alveolus and a alveolar capillary. Now that yellow alveolus is actually part of an alveolus sac shown here. And these sacs, there are millions of these sacs which make up lungs. And here's just a furthermore picture of a capillary right up next to the alveolus. But with our diagram, we will be focusing on one capillary itself. So here's the label of the two gases that will be exiting and entering the lungs. And here's just a furthermore example of the capillaries surrounding the alveolus. So as you can see here, CO2 is coming from the body, from the capillary, going towards the alveolus, while the oxygen is coming from the mouth in the lungs and entering the lungs, entering the alveolus to come into the body. And more keeps coming until the point where they transition over into each other. And this transition is actually diffusion because because CO2 and O2 are both so small and that they have the ability to go through simple diffusion. With the capillary being made up of only single cells, it is small enough for to enable the O2 and CO2 to pass right through the phospholipids without needing any other help with anything. So it continues on as the O2 continues into the body and into the to the heart, while the CO2 exits the body back out through the mouth. And the way this the system works, that all this can enter the body, is through the diaphragm. Now the diaphragm pulls the lungs down to inhale all the O2 and then pushes it back up to exhale all the CO2.
So right here we have a drawing of the heart, and on the left side we have CO2 going up through the heart, and it's going to travel into the lungs, then to the air spaces and exhale when you exhale. On the right side we got O2 here, and it's coming from the lungs, freshly inhaled, and it goes into the heart, down to the tissues, so it can be used for the body's functions.
As the O2 blood is being pumped from the right side of the heart into all the tissue needed in the body, it travels in arteries. And arteries are for the are for the O2, which travels all throughout the body and into the tissue where needed, as seen in this diagram with our tissue capillaries and our tissue cells. And they pump in fresh O2 blood. Then once they reach the tissue cells, the O2 enters them and the CO2 exits the tissue cells. And when they exit the tissue cells, they travel in veins. And veins carry low oxygen blood towards the heart so that it can be pumped out into the lungs and exhaled.